Good evening, good evening. Welcome, welcome, everyone. I think our Zoom is populating. Folks are logging on, and we are so excited to have this time with you, to have time with our labor movement, friends, allies, workers, supporters. Just want to say thank you for joining us tonight. So this is Labor for Harris. Yay! So amazing to see everyone from across our labor family, workers all over the country. I'm Liz Schuler, president of the AFL-CIO. For anyone who doesn't know about us, we are 12.5 million workers across 60 different unions in every type of job across the economy. And we have a lot of folks here tonight. We are so excited to welcome this community because we have union members, we have those who are organizing unions, we have folks that we are in partnership with. We are all workers, and that's what this is all about tonight. So these calls, as you know, have been very organic. They've been stood up on a moment's notice. This call is no different. We are following in the footsteps of the first call that started with Win with Black Women, who they held a Zoom, as you know, stood that up quickly. Then a bunch of other calls started popping up, right? We had Latinas and white women, Black men. We had white dudes for Kamala. I even heard that the Grateful Dead fans got a call together, the Deadheads for Harris. So tonight it's labor's turn, and we are unique. We are unique because no one else in the country represents such a broad coalition. Workers from every background, orientation, gender, religion, age, immigration status. We are making history tonight by bringing our entire movement together. And when labor comes together unified, we have incredible, incredible power. But that is easier said than done, right? We've got a lot of work to do. But here's the good news. We have 96 days to literally change the course of history, or should I say herstory? It's not every day we get to say that. So let's just be clear up front. This call is not sponsored by the Harris campaign. So we're not raising money like a lot of the other calls. They raised an unbelievable amount of money, by the way. Our call tonight is about what we do best as working people, and that is organizing people on the ground in communities. So what we are hoping to do tonight is build a volunteer base that we can turn out for the election, that we're all going to be in this together. So we are going to drop a volunteer form in the chat right now. And if you're ready, you can go ahead and click on that volunteer form, fill it out, and then we're going to just keep re-upping it through the call. So tonight, we are going to talk about this election in terms of what matters to our unions, our workers, our families. We're going to talk Project 2025, Trump, all the weirdness that is JD Vance. And of course, we're going to talk about Vice President Kamala Harris, who is a champion for workers, who has been instrumental in what we've gotten done in the past 3+ years with the Biden-Harris administration. We also want to hear from all of you. We are going to drop 2 hashtags in the chat. The first hashtag is, ready? It's better in a union. That's the first hashtag. The second one is hashtag unions for Harris. So we will drop some poll questions in the chat as well to kind of keep this spicy, keep it mixed up. We want to hear how folks are feeling right now. And so we're going to start with our first question. Hopefully it's an easy one, okay? So the first question that we are going to post, or this is going to be a flash poll here on Zoom. On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you to vote in November? Okay, it should be popping up. On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you to vote in November? And 10 being really excited, 1, of course, being not as excited, but we got work to do if you're a 1, let's just say that. So go ahead and answer. We'll check out the results. We'll report back. So let's get going. We have a great lineup of labor leaders, activists, workers who all have something to say. And, you know, working people are the ones who know best how much is at stake right now. So I am so excited to introduce our first speaker tonight. She is what we talk about when we talk about the future of this movement. And she just so happens to be from my home union, the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, IBEW Local 98 in Philadelphia. She has absolutely seized this moment, just like so many young women who go into the trades. She's here to talk about what her union means to her, what this election means to her. So Tila Allman, I am going to hand it over to you, our first speaker.
Hello, everyone. President Schuler, thank you for the introduction. It's an honor to be here and represent our home local, but also my name is Tila Allman, and I am a member of the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. I'm proud to represent the workers who will power our future. When I graduated from high school, I had other plans. I worked hard, and I was accepted into college. I had financial aid and student loans lined up, but I was still $20,000 short. So I had to adjust my goals to fit my circumstances. I became a union construction worker in Philadelphia. But I've embraced this life. As a member of the IBEW, I've had the chance to contribute to the growth of the city where I grew up. Medical and retirement benefits, family sustaining wages, dignity in the workplace. And in the past 3.5 years under the Biden-Harris administration, we're leading the charge for new renewable technologies like electric vehicles and solar power. We're revitalizing the country's infrastructure, and we're growing the middle class. The IBEW may be a brotherhood, but it is changing. And as a woman of color, I can tell everyone that I've been welcomed by my brothers and sisters in the IBEW. Today, I'm an apprenticeship instructor and recruitment and program coordinator for our pre-apprenticeship program. So I help prepare women for a career as an electrician. And with various backgrounds, they reflect the rich tapestry of our diverse society. They're the next generation of skilled union workers. And I know how important it is for them to have role models that look like them, people they know have walked the same road as them. We all need people we can look up to, and I always say mentors need mentors. And this month, I've watched Vice President Kamala Harris stand strong in the middle of a movement in the making with grace, resolve, and joy. Even when people are digging into her life and making assumptions about the choices she made, Kamala Harris is a role model to me. She is half of the historic team that has been the greatest champions of workers ever in the White House. She understands that the Biden-Harris administration's transformative investments in the country's future are just the beginning. We have more workers to train. We have more to do in these coming years. We have factories to build so that we can manufacture things again. We have carbon-free energy to produce. We have transmission lines to install to meet the demand of what we need here, in our home in the US. Again, Kamala Harris knows what a difference a union job can make. And that's why I'm going to do everything that I can to make sure that she can finish the job that she and President Joe Biden started 4 years ago. Brothers and sisters, everybody that's listening, everybody that's present, join me in this historic movement. Let's elect Kamala Harris in November. Thank you again, President Schuler, for the invitation, and I kick it back to you. This is wonderful.
Oh my gosh, Tila, you brought me to tears. This is incredible. And I just want to thank you for kicking off the call in such an impactful way. Congratulations to you are a role model. So everything you spoke about, that is exactly why our unions came together last Tuesday to make a unanimous endorsement of Kamala Harris. And for anyone who knows the labor movement, we aren't usually as quick, maybe sometimes, in turning things around like that, but we did it this time. We all came together. We knew we needed to send a clear message, and we needed to get to work to help this campaign. And our next speaker was one of the driving forces behind all of us coming together. He's a history maker in his own right, as the first Black president of the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, AFSCME, the Green Machine, the leader of the largest trade union of public sector workers in this country, and the chair of our AFL-CIO Executive Council Political Committee. Let's give it up for President Lee Saunders.
Well, thank you, Liz, and hello, union family. On behalf of the 1.4 million members of AFSCME, the 1.4 million proud public service workers dedicated to strengthening their communities all across this country. And I want to tell you this, we are fired up. We're fired up. Our members are fired up to bring home a win for Kamala Harris on November 5th. And as chair of the AFL-CIO Political Committee, I know that union members across our movement are ready to be the difference makers in this election. We're going to run the savviest, most strategic political programs. We're going to out-hustle the other side and grind it out every single day for the next 97 days. I can't believe Kamala Harris has been a presidential candidate for only a week and a half, because in that short period of time, this campaign has caught fire. It really has caught fire. You can feel the energy. You can feel the optimism. The reason we're so bullish and the reason we're going to bust our asses in the coming months is because Kamala Harris shares our values. She's a tough and principled fighter for working people. On issue after issue and throughout her career, she has put us front and center. As California Attorney General, in the US Senate, and in the White House as Vice President. She cracked down on corporate greed and took on the big banks after the 2008 financial crisis. She has been a big supporter of the PRO Act. She has led efforts to expand access to affordable childcare. She cast a tie-breaking vote in the Senate to pass the American Rescue Plan, which pulled the economy back from the brink. She led the White House task force on worker organizing and empowerment, where she led efforts to give us a stronger voice and a voice on the job. She has played a key role in the Biden-Harris administration on everything from student loan forgiveness to infrastructure to lowering prescription drug costs. Kamala Harris is the right person to meet this moment, and we're all in for her. Now it's time to sprint to that finish line. 97 days will go by in the blink of an eye, and we've got a lot of work to do. So make sure you sign up to Phone Bank, to participate in a labor walk, to get involved in some way in this historic campaign. It's time for labor to do what we do best. Do what we do best, putting boots on the ground, hitting those doors, organizing and mobilizing our communities at the grassroots level, winning this election, one conversation at a time. Let's get the job done. And I'll turn it back over to you, Liz.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Lee. One conversation at a time. That's exactly right. Appreciate you. And our chairman of our political committee, who's leading the charge. So thank you so much. So before we get to our next speaker, in case you weren't fired up enough for Kamala Harris as a champion of unions and our workers, let's check out this incredible video. Roll the film.
In our vision of the future, we see a place where every person has the opportunity not just to get by, but to get ahead. A future where no child has to grow up in poverty, where every senior can retire with dignity, and where every worker has the freedom to join a union. In this moment, we are in a fight for our most fundamental freedoms. And to this room of leaders, I say, bring it on.
All right. I don't know about y'all, but I am ready to go vote for her tonight. Oh yeah, we have to wait. So I don't know. I think this is the moment. This is the moment where we start spreading the word. Randy Weingarten had the awesome experience of having the vice president at her convention last week in Houston, one of her very first stops as a candidate for president. She was there to talk to our educators, our school and higher ed staff, nurses, healthcare workers, public employees. And of course, who was sidled right up next to her but our next speaker. And she's out there every single day, not only for all her members, but for families, for communities all over this country. My sister, AFT President Randy Weingarten.
Well, thank you, Liz, and thank you. One of our members is on from Edmond, who I'm so excited is on, Tanisha Burrows. But just like Lee said, and just like our other member said, the excitement right now is different than I've ever seen before. And, you know, I'm an old hand at this. There is a sense of potential, progress, opportunity. You see in the way in which people will react to our vice president, who many of us on this call have known for a long time. And we have walked the walk with her, and we have watched her, and we have been with her shoulder to shoulder to fight these fights for freedom, for opportunity. These are not just words to us. These are not just words to her. The freedom to teach, the freedom to learn, the freedom to make reproductive choices, the freedom to vote, the freedom to join a union. And what she did at our convention was, at one point or another, she looked right at the camera and she said, "This is not for you in the room. This is for everyone who's watching. When unions succeed, America succeeds. When unions succeed, other workers succeed." So what she's doing is not just being the contrast with Trump, but she is giving a vision of the future, which is why I think so many people are so captivated by her candidacy already. As Lee said, she's showing that you can take what the Biden-Harris administration has already done in reworking the economy, as we've already heard from one of our apprentice teachers earlier in this call. And you take that and then run with it to reduce housing costs, to reduce gas costs, to reduce grocery costs, to raise wages, to build on what Biden-Harris has done to deal with pensions of Teamsters and coal miners by making sure they had them, to then say, we're going to make sure that there is a secure, dignified retirement for all. This is now our potential, our opportunity to actually say, let's really change the economy so that every worker, every family gets to strive, not to struggle. That freedom that normally has gone to the rich and the privileged needs to go for everyone. And I love what she said yesterday when she said to Donald Trump, don't hide in bullying and in insulting in places where I'm not. Face to face. Why, if you're really going to do any of that stuff, debate me, bring it on. Having a candidate like this, who is strong, who is energetic, is energizing the country, and that big smile, it's amazing. So I see what has riveted my members and communities in the last week or two. And I'm going to actually ask what Lee asked, which is a big country. There's lots of voters. There's lots of people who are really feeling down and out. We need to do what labor does best, which is knock on doors, talk to people, educate people about what the future can really be. It's not just We don't want Donald Trump. We don't want a dictator. We don't want someone who is retributive. It is a future that every worker, every student can have a future that they thrive. That's what this is about. We need to knock on doors. We need to organize like never before. Thanks, Liz.
Oh, Randy, thank you so much. And that call to action is so on point. This is about preserving our freedoms, as you always say, and that is especially the case for public education in this election. We are so lucky to be joined by, as you said, Randy, one of your members and Becky's too, an educator who went into teaching because she loves it, because she's great at it. But like so many educators and workers, had to face student debt for years. She counted on her union for support. It's just another example of why protecting our unions in this election is so important. So Ternisha Burrows is a high school math teacher serving as president of the Union of Educators in I think it's Osseo, Minnesota. Did I get that right?
Yes, I see you.
Okay, I knew you'd correct me. So, and that's, I think, an inner ring suburb of Minneapolis. And I just want to thank you, Ternisha, for joining us and for your courage, your tenacity, what you bring to the classroom every single day.
Thank you, President Schuler, and thank you for this invitation to speak this evening to talk about this election and what it means for teachers like me. Because teachers like me, we want every student, no matter their race, their background, or gender, we want them to have the freedom to attend a public school that will prepare them to pursue their dreams. But that national teacher shortage has been standing in the way. And two of the biggest reasons for that is education debt and dishonest loan servicing companies. I know all too well because I was nearly one of those teachers that was pushed out of the classroom. I'm just going to share a bit of my story with everyone tonight. When I was in grad school in 2000 in my teaching degree program, everyone told me that I would qualify for loan forgiveness. So I didn't worry about student loan debt. But once I graduated, I suddenly had $70,000 in student loan debt, and I didn't qualify for loan forgiveness. So for 15 years, I tried to manage, but it was hard on my family. I applied for loan forgiveness, but I kept getting denied. Donald Trump's education secretary, Betsy DeVos, has always been on the side of the greedy loan companies. She was never about supporting educators like me. But when President Biden and Vice President Harris were elected, all of that changed. They fixed the public service loan forgiveness program. I applied for relief and I got it. So in August of 2023, the loan company finally forgave my last loan. They said you were done. And that decision is what made it possible for me to stay in the classroom. I will never forget what Biden and Harris have done for my family. I would have voted to reelect him, but now I'm ready to elect her. We need Harris in the White House because she will be there for all working people, including the educators who staff the schools where almost all of our children learn. And I will vote for her because there's literally nothing about Betsy DeVos that I want to come back in my life to. I don't want to come back to school vouchers, not the homophobia, not the greedy loan companies. As Vice President Harris has said herself, we are not going back. So I say tonight to my union friends, I'm willing to text, march, rally, write, donate, and most of all, I am willing to vote this fall because Kamala Harris needs to be the next president of the United States. And I hope that you all will agree with me. Thank you, President Schuler, for giving me this opportunity. And let's get out there and do it for soon to be President Kamala Harris.
All right, that was amazing. Thank you, Ternisha. Appreciate you so much. And that is a perfect segue to our next great speaker. I'm so excited because wherever she goes and speaks, she brings absolute fire. She is a powerful voice for our movement, the president of the National Education Association, Becky Pringle. Becky. All right.
Hi, Liz. Thank you
Hi.
so very much. I am Becky Pringle. I am the president of the 3 million member National Education Association. Our educators, like Tanisha, truly embrace these words. Those who have the privilege to know have the duty to act. As an 8th grade science teacher for 31 years, I know this country's diversity is its strength. It is our duty to celebrate and protect it. We know far too many workers don't have a living wage. It is our duty to fight for their right to live with security and retire with dignity. We know that predatory privateers are using their billions to dictate and legislate and interpret our laws in ways to further advantage the privileged and the powerful. We have a duty to demand our students have what they need and what they deserve, to protect public education as the foundation of this democracy, to fight for our right to be our authentic selves and to make decisions about our own bodies. So all Americans know the promise of we, the people. From taking on Wall Street to being a champion of clean energy, helping reduce schools' environmental footprints, Vice President Harris has proven herself a tough and principled fighter for working people and the unions that represent them. In this undeniably consequential election, voters will make this decision. Do they want a president who is incredibly horrible to us? Or do they want a president who does incredibly powerful things with us? This is not really a choice. This is justice. This is not a choice. This is our democracy. You know, we love calling her Kamala. But my labor siblings, if we do what we do with unceasing advocacy and dogged determination, come this January, we will call her Madam President. Back to you, Liz.
Oh, Becky, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you so much. You couldn't have said it better. I'm so inspired to have that lineup of powerful women all talking about what's at stake for public education. And it's really about the future of our country. So thank you. And I know we have thousands and thousands of people watching. We are on a Zoom again as a community. And we have a lot of folks here that are going to be speaking. I wanted to remind folks, I'm going to call in our next speaker to keep our interventions brief so that we can get to everybody. But I just, speaking of investing in our future, what about our country's infrastructure, safe bridges and roads and water systems, etc.? Our construction workers do so much for us and have so much on the line. And we have made massive strides under the Biden-Harris administration, historic investments to rebuild our country. And we are not going back. So here to talk about it, a powerhouse leader, president of North America's Building Trades Unions, Sean McGarvey. Okay, he's on mute, I think.
Unmute, am I unmuted?
You're unmuted. I love that background.
All right. Well, look, Liz, thank you for the opportunity. I'm coming to you live from the Big House in Ann Arbor, Michigan, where we just met with 500 of our leaders from across Michigan and our activists who are energized, and we're going to step it up. We've been in the field for 2 months now, They are so excited. They're actually down on the field right now of their beloved Wolverines, enjoying it. They know the work that's ahead. They know what's at stake. They're going to turn out their members. They're going to vote, and they're going to vote for Kamala Harris for president of the United States and whomever her running mate is. So for the building trades, we're out here in the field. We're doing the work. We're hitting job sites tomorrow across the state. Thank you for your leadership, Liz. Let's get this thing across the finish line, and let's get Kamala Harris elected president of the United States.
Oh my gosh, Sean, thank you so much. And you know, we're all a little envious of you with that that stadium there, but great example of what's possible when we come together. The labor movement is built on solidarity. We're solidarity at work, solidarity at the polls. So every time we organize and win, we're not just lifting up workers from one workplace, we are building our collective power throughout the entire community across the country. And we have more power then to elect pro-worker candidates like Vice President Kamala Harris. So our next speaker knows how our voices get a little louder and a little stronger with each organizing victory. Joining us from Phoenix is David Bonilla, a cashier for SSP America at Sky Harbor Airport. And he's a member of Unite Here Local 11. David, take it away.
Hey everyone, I'm David Bonilla. As President Schuler said, I am a cashier at for SSP America at Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport. What got me into the airport was my mom. She also happened to work there, and she got me into the airport by like, hey, there's better wages, better benefits, whatever that meant to me. And I didn't really know as to why that was. And now I know it's the union. When I first got into SSP, I happened to stumble into a huge contract battle that I was like, this is exciting. How can I get involved? So I did. And I got involved in making sure that my coworkers were prepared to go on strike. And what that looked like was going on 60-hour work weeks, talking with as many coworkers as possible to make sure that, hey, there's this whole thing going on. And what ended up happening was these 60-hour work weeks became more of a necessity because I couldn't be able to survive out here in Phoenix without them, is what I realized. So what happened was me and my coworkers went out on strike 3 times in a row. And this is the first time that I got to stand up for my coworkers and the injustices that our company brought upon them, and making sure that our workplaces are way more safer than what they are. And this is the first time in my life where I was able to speak up and do something for myself. And we're still continuing that fight currently. In 2020 was the first time I ever got politically involved. And it's going to be the first year where I'm able to vote in the presidential election, which is very exciting for myself. And one of the things that I'm very passionate about, the thing that I'm very most affected by, is immigration. Growing up here in Arizona, me and my family, we're all documented, we're all good. But my father figure, my mother's boyfriend, wasn't. And my mom dreaded, and I'm assuming as a lot of Arizona families have dreaded, a tragedy. And that tragedy was my mom's boyfriend being pulled over by the cops. And he was arrested and sent across the border. And as a 9-year-old child, I didn't really know why, or I couldn't really grasp it. But what I did understand was I no longer had the man that I looked up to. And it was all because he wasn't born here. And it devastated me. And the emotions and the feelings that I felt and my family have felt, and the toll that it took on us, we never talked about it. And that was because we never knew we could do something about it. We didn't think anything could be done. And me and my coworkers going out on strike was the first time that I was able to see that something can be done and something can be changed. And it's not just for me, and it's not just for my coworkers, but it's for the community at large. And the strike was the first time I was able to witness that. So that is why I took a leave of absence from the airport to come and knock on doors for Vice President Kamala Harris to make sure she's getting into office. And currently, right now, we're knocking on doors every day, and our goal is to get 500 canvassers from all across the country to come down here in Arizona and make sure she gets into power. We're still fighting at SSP, and we're going to continue that fight and making sure that Kamala Harris gets into the White House. And we won't stop until we win. So thank you to everyone. And I invite everyone to come and get a taste of the beautiful Arizona desert, and come on, knock some doors. Thank you very much. And thank you, President Schuler.
Thank you so much, David. And appreciate your activism and your leadership. And as was said, Arizona will be a battleground state.
President Schuler, you're on mute.
Now I am really excited to introduce a leader, a union really close to my own heart, who alongside Lee Saunders has been instrumental in navigating all the unpredictability of, the past 10 days, but also bringing deep expertise in organizing and strategy to our labor movement's political program. And in his role at IBEW, he's been on the front lines of these historic Biden-Harris investments, especially in clean energy and the electricity that's needed to power our future. The vice chair of the AFL-CIO Executive Council Political Committee, the president of the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, my brother, Kenny Cooper. Kenny.
Thank you, Liz, and good evening, my union family. And
oh, he's on mute.
I'm sorry, I'm muted.
There you go.
Thank you, President Schuler. Good evening, my union family and IBEW members. On behalf of 840,000 IBEW members, thank you very much. And thank you to Teely Allman for your message and all you do for the IBEW. I'm very, very proud of you. Thank you so much. This is one of the most exciting times of my career. For the first time, I've seen labor 100% united, 100% united to get Vice President Harris in the office of president. It is so important to every one of us. Vice President Harris has worked side by side with President Biden. She cast the tie-breaking vote time and time again for labor. She cast the tie-breaking vote for the infrastructure laws, the National Labor Relations appointees, tie-breaking vote for the IRA, and most importantly, the tie-breaking vote that saved all of our pension plans. Most people forget that she had to stay back for almost 2.5 years because the Senate was tied, and she was the unanimous vote that carried all these bills for us. I can't say enough about what she's done. She's went around the IBEW all over the country and visited our JATCs. She chaired the task force to strengthen our unions. She's been pro-labor since she's been a senator. Vice President Harris understands unions are good for both the economy and working families. She says it over and over again. Brothers and sisters, we came too far to step back. We have more work to do, and I'm asking each and every one of you, every international, every union member, we have to step to the plate to do everything we can to elect Vice President Harris in November. Lastly, I do want to say thank you to the President Biden for his commitment to the unions, to working families, and to America. She sat side by side with him every day for the last 4 years. And I can't be more proud of the work they've done together and the work that she will continue to do into the future. Thank each and every one of you. Please, please get out, do everything we can to help this administration that's going to help us at the end of the day. Thank you for all you do, and back to you, Liz.
Thank you, Kenny. So well said. We know what we need to do. And your point about us being unified, it is so important. Thank you so much. I am now so excited to introduce our next guest. She is an absolutely fearless organizer and leader. She's been fighting for social, economic, and racial justice for more than 3 decades. The newly elected National Secretary Treasurer of SEIU. I think, how many weeks or months have you been in the job now as Secretary Treasurer? But obviously many roles before that, Rocio, but we are so excited to have you with us. SEIU Secretary Treasurer of the National Union, Rocio Sáenz.
Thank you so much, Liz. It is so great to be here with all of you and for bringing us together, this incredible space. I can tell you that SEIU members are all in to elect Kamala Harris as our next president. There is so much excitement, as many of you have already mentioned, about this election, and the feeling that we are building up is just wonderful. Let me just tell you, working people are going to decide this election, and we need every single person to do everything they can to elect Kamala Harris and defeat Donald Trump. We don't have to guess what a second Trump term will look like. We know. They put out a guidebook in Project 2025 to tell us. They will come after workers in every way they can. They will make life harder for women and for immigrants and for workers. And in the MAGA future, corporations and greedy CEOs will be rewarded with tax breaks and their own rules, while working people will struggle to get ahead. Trump will have the opportunity to put more MAGA justices on the Supreme Court. And from day one, Trump will push an extreme, racist, sexist, and anti-worker agenda. And let me just make it clear, we all have said this: we are the troops. We are the workers. We are the volunteers, the backbone, the people who will stand up and get up and fight like hell to elect Kamala Harris as president. We know Vice President Harris will continue to fight for every worker to have the opportunity to join in unions. And really, how we show up, what we do, how we engage, all of it matters. We know what is at stake in this election: our democracy, our economy, our future. So we all know, and has she been saying, when we fight, we win. When we organize, we win. When we vote, we win. So thank you so much for having me today. And back to you, Liz.
Oh, Rocio, when we fight, we win. Thank you so much. Appreciate you being on this evening. So we've talked a lot tonight about respect and dignity. One of the best examples is whether or not we can retire with dignity, and making sure that our pensions that we have poured decades of hard work into are secure. Pensions that we have earned. And we're going to hear next from Danny Melendez, a retired organizer and business agent for the Bakery, Confectionery, Tobacco Workers, and Grain Millers International Union, Local 6 in Philadelphia, about what this election means for our pensions and retirement security. Danny, over to you.
I want to thank the President Schuler and the AFL-CIO for having this forum and the opportunity to speak. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I've been a member of the Bakery Workers for 30 years. I worked at a Nabisco plant in Philadelphia that closed in 2015. That was devastating for a lot of people, especially since that work went to Mexico. I was able to get a job at the new Bimbo Bakeries plant in Lehigh Valley, PA. Workers there were also represented by the BCTGM. Here's the important part. Both Nabisco and Bimbo were part of our B&C pension fund. That means I did not lose my pension and continued to gain valuable years until I could retire in 2022. I retired with my full pension and with dignity and respect. Workers like me dedicated decades of our lives to make food products that hundreds of millions of Americans enjoy every day. Many of my fellow workers work 6 or 7 days a week. We missed our kids' birthdays, Little League games, anniversaries, and other special events to make sure food made it onto people's tables. But we did this knowing we were working towards a stable retirement. And through no fault of our own, the rug was pulled out from under us. Saving our pensions literally saved lives. I don't know what I would have done if my benefits had been cut by 50%. That's what the Republicans proposed, and it would have been devastating for millions of retirees, including myself. The work of the Biden-Harris team and our allies is heroic. I'm proud that our union was on the front lines leading this fight. We went to rallies, wrote letters, made phone calls to make our voices heard. The Biden-Harris team and our allies heard us. Vice President Harris was the tie-breaking vote in the Senate that allowed the pension legislation to be passed. She had workers' backs then, and she will have our backs as president. Like President Biden, Vice President Harris is a true champion and friend of labor. She understands when unions thrive, the middle class grows and thrives. And when the middle class grows and thrives, America thrives and it's at its strongest. November 5th, every American worker should be out there voting for our friend and champion Kamala Harris to be our next president. Thank you, Liz. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Danny. Appreciate you. And we'll be out there. We're going to be knocking on those doors, making those calls. And after hearing Danny, I think it's worth taking just a moment to think about what being in a union means to all of us and why, as we say, it's better in a union. So let's take a look at this video.
I'm proud to be a union member. You want to know why?
You have someone, you're not fighting alone. You have someone there for you to help you win these battles.
Expanded health insurance, not only for ourselves, but for our families.
Better job security.
A safe workplace.
And awesome benefits.
Knowing that we are all working for our collective success.
A real opportunity to make impactful, lasting change.
In a union, our voices matter, and we've got the power to negotiate for what we deserve for our families.
I don't have to go by my tiny little self and go up against these giant conglomerates.
I have realized that there's power in numbers.
It's vital for us to continue as a workforce, as the working class continues to build solidarity. We need more and more unions.
Union power! Union power! Union power! Fantastic. I loved it. Can't think of a better way to tee up the next speaker than who we have coming up now. He has been a leader in the movement since the day he joined it. He's dedicated his life to fighting for workers, for racial justice, civil rights in our workplaces and in our communities. A steel worker, a labor history devotee. My partner, my friend, AFL-CIO Secretary Treasurer Fred Redmond.
Well, thank you very much, Liz, and thank you all for taking the time to join the call tonight. Look, as a federation of 60 unions, the AFL-CIO, as Liz stated, we don't have a reputation of being nimble. You know, we build solidarity through consensus, and in many instances, that could take time. But in the past 10 days or so, ever since President Biden stepped aside for the good of the country and put Kamala Harris's name forward, the first woman of color to be the Democratic nominee, this federation has been nimble, but more importantly, we have been unified. Our unions rallied behind Kamala's nomination, and the AFL-CIO was able to endorse her for president the very day after President Biden resigned. We stayed united for our candidate in Kamala Harris, who has a track record of fighting for working people and who will continue to fight for us and our democracy. Our unity gives me a lot of optimism. Our solidarity gives me a lot of hope, because when we're together and united, we can punch above our weight and overcome all odds. We have the incredible opportunity to continue our progress with Kamala Harris. And it's coming out of the manufacturing sector. The Biden-Harris administration has been working with our unions to rebuild a strong manufacturing sector with family-sustaining jobs. You know, we can't afford to go back to the days of bad trade policies, loss of jobs, and devastation to our communities. So let's stay together. We need to stay focused, and we need to deliver our message to our members. Volunteer for Labor 2024. The link is in the sign-up form. The sign-up form is in the link. Together, organized labor, we can make a difference and win for working people everywhere. Back to you, Liz.
Oh, thank you, Fred. Amazing. We love you. We are, now I want to look back down on memory lane. Remember back in the elections of 2020 and 2022, especially in Georgia, where we had runoffs in both election cycles. Remember that? And labor actually made the difference. Labor made the margin, and our volunteers did it all and continue to do it all, from getting out the vote drives to literally working behind the scenes to lift up other leaders and volunteers. So that reminds me of our next speaker, because you know that big energetic campaign event that took place in Atlanta yesterday for Vice President Harris? Yeah, that is the event that Al Herman was working because he is local union coordinator of the International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees, Local 927, and vice president of the Atlanta North Georgia Labor Council. All right, turning it over to you, Al.
Thank you very much, Liz. It's a pleasure to be able to represent the members, the brothers and sisters of the International Alliance of So good evening. My name is Al Herman, and last night I was the video department head for the Kamala Harris rally, where I was responsible for running the cabling, setting up cameras, video monitors, and the teleprompter systems, alongside about 36 of my local 927 brothers and sisters who set up the stages, lighting, sound systems, crowd control barriers, and decorations. I eagerly agreed to speak tonight because I recall all too well the devastating impact of the first Trump presidency, and I fear the devastation that another 4 years would mean to human rights, the rule of law, the standing of the U.S. in the world, and the impact on the domestic economy, our livelihoods, our jobs. He simply cannot become president again. As a Union Live technician for over 25 years, I've been involved in the staging of a wide variety of events, including Broadway-style theater, large corporate meetings, opera, ballet, live concerts, and much more. Often these jobs are just that, work to pay the bills. But yesterday's Harris for President rally was far different an experience, because I and most of the crew know that the candidate closely resembles our values and hopes for the future of the country that we so love. I could tell from the enthusiasm of the attendees, which was obvious by the celebratory atmosphere, it was real, that I was not alone, and that Georgia is prepared to do what must be done to turn out the vote again, keeping the state blue, and electing Kamala Harris to be the next president of the United States. Thank you very much, Liz. Back to you.
Yes, thank you so much, Al. That was wonderful. And thanks for channeling that energy, because we're seeing it all over the country. And thanks for your hard work to make it happen. So I think we are going to drop a poll question in and then get to our last 4 or 5 speakers here. This one is really simple. Are you registered to vote in this fall's election? Yes or no? Are you registered to vote? So that poll is going to flash up on your screen and you can answer the question. And if you answered yes, or you're leaning in that direction, be sure to fill out the volunteer form that we are re-upping in the chat right now. And that will give you more information, different ways to get plugged in. It is the next step to becoming part of the team. And if you're asking yourself, what can I do? How can I help? That is how you can help. So speaking of great teams, if you follow this labor movement at all, you have seen nurses all over this country who are standing up on strike lines for themselves, for their patients, racking up huge wins. That vision, that confidence, it starts at the top with our next speaker. And she's a champion of women's rights, women's health, workers everywhere. She's chair of the AFL-CIO Executive Council Committee on Women Workers and the executive director of National Nurses United, Bonnie Castillo. Take it away, Bonnie.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. And thank you, Liz and Fred, for bringing us all together today. There is just so much power on this call today, and it's worker power. So on behalf of 225,000 registered members, nurse members of NNU, and as a nurse myself, I'm thrilled to be here to support the nurses candidate, Vice President Kamala Harris. At her recent campaign rallies, Vice President Harris has emphasized that we are not going back. Nurses remember the relief we felt on day one of the Biden-Harris administration. After 4 years of the Trump presidency, during which Donald Trump did nothing to protect nurses and our patients from the COVID pandemic, the Biden-Harris administration had our backs. She immediately got to work to ensure a comprehensive pandemic response program, including protections for nurses and other healthcare workers. Vice President Harris understands how important it is to expand healthcare for working people. She's played a critical role in lowering the cost of insulin and other prescription drugs, and she refuses to go backwards on hard-won healthcare programs like Medicare. Kamala Harris has also been fighting to protect and restore reproductive healthcare freedom. In states with abortion bans, our patients face medical complications and even death. And nurses are paralyzed by legal questions, unable to provide timely, life-saving care. Nurses know that Vice President Harris will do everything she can to end this nightmare. Going backward is not an option for the health of our country. As a women-dominated profession with many nurses being women of color, we're proud and excited to move forward with a candidate who sees us because she is us. National Nurses United is fired up and ready to get to work to elect Kamala Harris as the next president of the United States. Back to you, Liz.
Oh, thank you, Bonnie. Fired up, ready to go. And as a Californian who knows Kamala Harris throughout her career, that means a lot. Thank you so much, Bonnie. We are making history with this election, aren't we, folks?
Yes.
Well, yeah, we got
Yes.
another history maker who has broken down barriers, always thinking about the future of work, how it's going to affect working people. He's passionate about politics and engaging Black voters, has a long track record of giving back in the community. And I so admire the work of President of the Communication Workers of America, Claude Cummings Jr. Claude.
Thank you, Liz, and thank you, union members that are on tonight. Liz, thank you so much for having this forum. Listen, I'm not going to use my time tonight to focus on Vice President Harris' accomplishments. Others have done that, and I'm sure others will continue to do that on this call. What I want to say is this: over and over again, Kamala Harris has sought the input of CWA members and other working people in order to better understand the issues so her policy recommendations truly meet our concerns. Do any of you really think Trump does that? Hell no, he doesn't. The only working people around him when he wines and dines Elon Musk and other CEOs at Mar-a-Lago are the ones keeping the place running, who is really probably not even paying them a decent salary. A couple of years ago, Vice President Harris visited a CWA-represented electric bus manufacturing facility in Minnesota. She had a press conference there, but it wasn't some photo op. Our members took her out on a tour of the shop floor, and they were extremely impressed with the questions she asked and the attention that she paid to the answers. And by the way, Vice President Harris was the co-chair of the White House Task Force on Worker Empowerment. She helped develop literally dozens of policies, literally dozens of them big, some of them were small, that the administration could do to empower workers without needing new legislation. And how did she develop those? Well, she met numerous times with CWA members and leaders to hear our concerns. And I know that she did the same thing with countless other unions. That's who Kamala Harris is. She trusts, let me say this again, she trusts working people and truly values our opinions. So what do we need to do in the next few months to elect her as president? Here's what we need to do. We know that the most effective way to reach voters is through face-to-face conversations, not TV or social media ads, not mailers or phone calls, although they have their place. The most effective thing going is face-to-face conversations, and no groups are more well-positioned to have real conversations than unions. Listen, it's our superpower. It's our superpower. That's how we get things done. Because of that, we have the ability and the responsibility to make the difference this November. The labor movement can connect with voters, register voters, and turn out voters in a way no institution can. If I were with you in person, I would ask you to say this with me. But instead, you can say this to yourself, and you should say it to yourself every day between now and November 5th. We will protect our democracy. We will protect our unions. We will protect working people. We will protect future generations. We say all the time, when we fight, we win. How are we going to fight? How are we going to win? With our vote. Let's get this done. Thank you so much, Liz.
Oh, thank you, Claude. Yes, we will. Yes, we will. Thank you. Thank you. So perfect. And I think Claude said it best. This is about whether our cities and communities are, are invested in, and whether we keep this country moving in the right direction. It's about protecting our democracy. And we have a couple more speakers here, just a few minutes over time, but it's worth it because I'm going to call on someone who understands that better than anyone, because he represents millions of workers across the transportation industry. The president of the 37 Union Transportation Trades Department of the AFL-CIO, Greg Regan.
Thank you so much, Liz. And it's really an honor to be here with all these people, all these important leaders, and all these really future leaders is what I see in front of us here. I could go on a lot about the important accomplishments of the Biden-Harris administration and what they achieved for the members who move America across this country, and they've achieved a lot. But honestly, one of the most important things that I've seen in the last 3.5 years has been how much they have infused throughout the administration that focus on workers. Because for too long in our country, the focus has been on buying stuff. You can buy trains, you can buy buses, you can buy tracks, you can buy streets, but you're not investing in workers. And what this administration has done more than any other, and this is truly groundbreaking, has been to invest in people and focus on people. That means job training. That means good union jobs. That means investing in the human beings who are actually going to make these things run. And it sounds stupid that I'm saying this is revolutionary, but it truly is. And I cannot imagine going back to the old ways. Going back to the old days when things weren't working that way, when we weren't focusing on the people who are going to make this stuff run. And I think it's imperative that as a labor movement and as a country, we continue this process moving forward. And the only way to do that is to make sure that we elect Kamala Harris as the next president. It has been a breath of fresh air for me in my career, and I cannot wait to work with all of you, all of my brothers and sisters, to make this thing happen. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Greg. Let's make this happen. I can't thank you enough. And what you said was simple, but right to the point. It's about people. And now I'm thinking about this Project 2025, the Trump Project 2025, and how it would really decimate the people who make government work. There's an entire 900-page document, as we know, that we have to unpack. We've dedicated a website to it at the AFL-CIO. We're going to drop that website into the chat so everyone can educate themselves on Project 2025 and spread the word and talk to your friends and neighbors and coworkers. So look at that link in the chat. It is dangerous on so many levels, but it poses the biggest threat to workers in the public sector and the federal sector specifically. This agenda would ban public sector unions, folks. It would allow Trump to fire civil service workers and staff the government with Trump loyalists. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know how terrible that would be for our country. But with our next speaker, I'm thrilled to say that we have a rocket scientist with us today to let us know. She's a senior aerospace engineer at NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center in Maryland and the executive vice president of IFPTE Local 29, Trishanda Moten. Trishanda.
Thank you, President Schuler. I'm Trishanda Moten, president of the NASA Council of IFPTE Locals, proudly representing thousands of engineers, scientists, technicians, and administrative professionals at NASA. Tonight, I'm speaking to you as a citizen who believes in a government that champions our nation's federal workforce. Let me tell you why this matters. For federal employees like me and my coworkers, this election matters like no other. As Liz just mentioned, federal workers are under attack. Federal workers and labor unions survived through 4 years of Trump administration's relentless attacks on our labor rights, our ability to bargain, and to represent the members. And by the end of his term, the previous administration tried to gut the nonpartisan federal civil service and turned it into a patronage system full of his loyalists. We need a president who understands the importance and the value of federal workers to the nation. So the choice is clear. In Kamala Harris, we have a nominee for president who has stood with federal workers and led the White House task force on worker organizing, which set a goal of making the federal government a model employer. The Biden-Harris administration sees federal workers and their unions as partners, and I believe that Vice President Harris will certainly carry forward the same commitments in her administration. In closing, I will say that federal workers in the public work in the public interest. That's what we do. Kamala Harris understands this. She understands public service, and I personally support her because she supports unions. She understands the protections in the federal workplace are necessary for effective work, and that the federal employees and federal unions are partners, not a swamp. This is why I personally will do everything I can to elect Kamala Harris as the next president of the United States. Please join me.
Oh, Trishanda, you are inspiring people on this call right now to do the same thing. Sign up, volunteer, talk to your coworkers. We have that link in the chat for people to volunteer. So we know about Project 2025 at this point. We know it's extreme, but it's so important that we spread the word on exactly what this is, just how radical and how out of touch these ideas are compared to what everyday workers want. And our next speaker is someone who has the greatest sense of what is at stake, both with this Trump Project 2025 agenda and more broadly for federal sector workers. So please welcome the national president of the American Federation of Government Employees, Everett Kelly.
Thank you, Madam President. Brothers and sisters, I thank you all for joining this call tonight. My name is Everett Kelly, and I am proud to be the national president of the American Federation of Government Employees, AFGE, representing over 750,000 federal and DC government workers. And I'm happy to see some of the members on the call tonight, some of our national vice presidents. Now, the folk we represent at AFGE are federal workers. They swear an oath to the Constitution, and they work for you, the American people. But Donald Trump and J.D. Vance want to strip away their rights, bust our union, and stack the government with political flunkies, loyal not to the law or the Constitution, but to Donald Trump. Well, they tried that in the first term, and it didn't work. They ran into stiff resistance from our union. And in the first day of their administration, President Biden and Vice President Harris reversed those corrupt policies. Vice President Harris led a task force that helped expand union rights for federal workers. Vice President Harris has walked with us, stood for us, and fought for us. And we're here to stand with her. Together, we can get this done. Now, I'm here today because of the power of we. I believe that when folk on this call and calls like this all around the country come together, we can achieve anything. I believe it because I've seen it. I've seen the amazing things we've done working together with President Biden and Vice President Harris for the past 4 years. And I know if we come together in this week, between the weeks between now and November, there's nothing at all that we cannot accomplish together. AFG members are looking at this election as a fight for our very existence. If Trump and his people who wrote Project 2025 win power, they will destroy our unions, and we know that. But we will not surrender. We're not here to do that. We're here to fight. We are here to rise. And I'm calling on everyone on this call, if you believe in freedom, if you believe in democracy, if you believe in justice, if you believe in progress, then get involved and get 5 of your friends involved. Knock on doors, make calls, speak to your neighbors, speak to your coworkers. Do everything you can between now and November to elect Kamala Harris, secure our freedom, and rebuke Donald Trump's dark vision for America. Let's stand together as unified as we can, because I believe in the power of we. When we, the people, come together, we have power. Let's win this thing together. Can we do that? Let's win it. Thank you, President Schuler, for this call. Thank all of you for being on this call. Let's do this in the power of we. Thank you.
Yes, we can. Yay. Thank you so much, Everett. That was amazing. And we are needing that energy and that enthusiasm as we're winding down this call. We started thinking about who can bring the juice, who can fire us up. And we had an obvious choice. She's a legend in the labor and civil rights movements. As a teenager, she traveled to DC to attend the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. And she's been at the vanguard for economic and racial justice ever since. We are so glad that she is currently on our team here at the AFL-CIO, making sure that our movement is deeply connected with other movements. And I know she is fired up about the chance to make herstory in this election. Our senior advisor for strategic partnerships and racial justice at the AFL-CIO, Cleola Brown.
Oh my goodness, my goodness. Thank you so much, President Schuler, and our Secretary Treasurer, Fred Redmond. I had such a good time listening to everybody do what I can't do in this space tonight, because I represent the A. Philip Randolph Institute as well, which does not endorse, but we are not just not endorsing. We are standing up for justice and dignity and respect and all of those things that every speaker before me has said. We are particular about those people that we are going to work very hard for. And as my president said earlier, she lets us know from time to time that the work is not necessarily done on paper. It's done by the patter of our feet, getting out there and getting with it. I said, before you leave your house, start with the ones in your house. There's some folks that got some strange people that live with them. We gave birth to them, or we married them, or we did whatever, but they're family. Start with the families. Tell them how you feel about some of the crazy stuff that they're saying. Like some of our leaders say around the country, it's just weird hearing some of that stuff come out of people's mouths. We have to make sure that we check it early, check it regularly, and check it where we live. Now, Reverend Joseph Lowery used to say, we have marched too far, we have worked too hard and bled too profusely to even turn back. Now, we don't want to go back to the old time. The old time is no good for nothing that we've been working so hard to make happen right now. Bill Lucy says that we don't have to be eternal in order to be profound either. The message is clear. Look at the options that we have between the candidates that will be running for the office of president of these United States. It's not hard for me. Rocket science is not a necessity, although our rocket scientists are all very important to us. Keep bringing your vision and everything else to us, of course. But I had two reminders that helped me think through stuff. One is Carlos Gennard, who called while we were on this line, and my dear sister Jean Hervey. Tell him what we have to do. We got to grease up, y'all. We've got to buy those sneakers that will help us to march and walk and do whatever it takes for us to get these votes in here that will represent the principles that the labor movement stands for. It's not about doing things that are out of the usual. That's what we do every day as trade unionists, making sure that we protect the rights that our forefathers built and left us as a legacy to continue. I say to you, President Shuler, it's an honor to serve with you and everyone that's on this call tonight. But it's even more of an honor to walk step by step with every single one of us that's willing to get out there and get it done. We can make this happen. We can do this. Now is the time to get it going. I'm ready. Are you fired up to go? Let's rock and roll up on these votes and make sure that we don't get a fool in the White House. We've got a real person that can bring us to the place that we need to be. Kamala Harris, Lord have mercy, sister. We are right there with you, pushing you by your back and walking beside your side. Let's get this done, y'all. Come on now. Thanks a lot for having me. Thanks a lot.
We are ready. Thank you so much, Clay. That was awesome. And thanks to all of you who have stayed on this call. What an incredible, incredible night. I hope you feel energized. I feel the energy. I know that this energy is going to keep carrying us through the last 96 days. Yes, 96 days of this campaign, where every one of us gets the chance to say that we were a part of making history and part of sending the first Black woman, the first AAPI woman, the first working woman to the White House, part of sending Donald Trump packing once and for all. And that is the opportunity we have in front of us. And one thing we know in this movement, when we organize, we cannot be stopped. And we see that in our strike lines, we see it in our contract fights, and we're going to see it in this election too. So one more time, go to that form in our chat. We will share it again right now. Fill it out if you're ready. Let's leave everything we have on the field and show the entire country what the union difference means. Let's go win this election. Thank you all. Have a great night.